Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Gourmet Packers all-time leading rusher, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome into Good Morning Lambeau. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. You can email us, PackersTotalAccess@gmail.com. You can text us 865-658-5824. Join alongside Tim in Green Bay. We got Jacob in Wisconsin here to talk some Packers as we're closing in on Monday Night Football, Packers-Saints. Big matchup there. Obviously, the Saints banged up. Packers getting healthier, and we're looking to go ahead and seal that playoff berth here in the 2024 season as we get ready to step into 2025 the right way. Before we get started, all right, gents, we're ready to dive into some more Packers Saints talk here and get into a bunch of different topics, man. We got the NFL Pro preview we're going to hit on a little bit, kind of look at some of the next-gen insights, that type of thing. So we'll see what's cracking over there. I'm going to try to keep this adjusted to where people's not getting covered up by the messages in the group here. I don't know why all of a sudden it decided to do that to us, but we'll keep that updated if we can. Half understands. He knows what's going on here, right? First things first, check this out, guys. We've got our PTA Players of the Week from last week voted on by the listeners. Josh Jacobs and Edgerrin Cooper are your – I didn't even change the week, so don't even worry about that. It's the PTA Players of the Week there against Seattle. Obviously, Edgerrin Cooper had a coming-out party. Hopefully he stays on the field more often. We'll see how that shakes out. And Josh Jacobs just continues to impress. Even though they really loaded the box and shut down Josh Jacobs, still made a huge, huge impact in the passing game, obviously, with that play that we're going to show over and over and over again out there, right? So pretty cool that was coming out of the backfield on a little circle route, man. Pretty neat. So do you guys agree, disagree? How do you feel about this in terms of the PTA Players of the Week?
Yeah, I mean, come on. It's not even debatable with Edgerrin Cooper. I think maybe on the offensive side, you could have argued Jordan Love had a pretty good game. Christian Watson had a hell of a game. So there were a couple of names there offensively, but I think Edgerrin Cooper just ran away with the Defensive Player of the Week for sure.
Yeah. What about you, Jacob? You agree with these, or do you think anybody else might have been worthy of the award here?
Yeah, I think this is about right, especially if you judge that first half, just the way the game got started. Jacobs was shot out of a cannon, man, and credit to the defense at the second half. They made some adjustments and, like you said, brought some guys up in that box and were able to kind of stifle what looked like it could be a career-type day for Jacobs the way he started running, man. He was, just looked amazing. But, yeah, I think this is definitely fair. Cooper, what a monster. If we don't get him on the field more, that's going to be pretty much a crime. So
yeah, I agree, man. And it comes down to how do you want to do that, right? That's the big thing. I think we would all agree, we've talked about it, that it sounds like Eric Wilson is going to wear the green dot. They're not in a rush to give Cooper the green dot. We'll see how long Quay's out. In a perfect world, it'd be Quay wearing the green dot, Edgerrin Cooper kind of playing free, but still, being on the field every nickel snap is what I would like to see. I'd like to see zero rotation with the nickel backers, and if you want to do a little rotation, give a breather, do it in your base sets, that type of thing. Another thing too, it's kind of off topic, but I've noticed this year is the defensive line change in crucial situations. It's like, Tim, we've talked about it all year. You got that rotation of the defensive line, and obviously the Packers are notorious for that. They had been long before Jeff Hafley got here, right? When you see how they rotate the defensive line in and out, and then you get into a crucial situation like they're toward the end of the game, I think it was against the Lions, and you didn't have Gary on the field, you didn't have Kenny on the field. There's a bunch of people that wasn't on the field, right? And it's like they don't look at it like, hey, let's get our best guys out there in the situation. It's just we're all one collective unit. Let's keep this rotation rolling. You know what I'm saying? Does it feel like that?
Fresh bodies, fresh legs, as much as possible, especially trying to grind out a game against a tough opponent. But I can also see there's a guy. I can also see, the logic of the more you're doing that, sometimes you can get lost in the mix, right? Sometimes you get called and you're on the sideline, and then you don't realize someone wanted you in the game, and then someone else has got to run out there, right? That's like that hockey line switch mentality. Sometimes your personnel can get mixed up, and you got to have your guys head in the game, paying attention. Football, like hockey, is one of those games. You can be on the sideline, doesn't mean you're not involved. You've got to know down and distance situation and your personal movement. But no, I like the approach. It's kind of even the NASCAR's got to pull in and get a pit stop, right? Change the tires and things like that. So stay in the race, keep fresh legs out there. We've got a good balance of some veteran play up front there, and then we've got a lot of young talent. So it makes sense to keep the rotation moving.
Yeah, completely agree. All right, let's move on to the injury report. Just a quick recap. We hit it last night in case anyone missed the night show. So basically, the Packers are as healthy as they've been in a while. Now, keep in mind, Jordan Morgan was put on IR, so he's not shown on this list. He is done for the year. Jair Alexander, full participation again. We'll see if he passes the speed test today. So we should know by the end of the day. I feel comfortable saying that at the end of the day, guys, if we don't hear that Jair's out, then he's good to go, because that's kind of how it happened last week. It wasn't that Jair just didn't feel like he could go. They did the speed test, didn't think he could get up to game speed, and that was kind of the deal there. So also Corey Ballantyne was limited. Javon Bullard did not participate. Luke Musgrave was limited. Quay Walker did not participate. So the way I'm seeing this is we should know about Ja by the end of the day. I can't imagine that he'll pass the speed test, then not get cleared on game day. That's just me personally. But in terms of Javon Bullard and Quay Walker, I feel really comfortable saying they're out. And there's probably a 50-50 shot that Luke Musgrave plays this week. Jacob, what do you think about that? Anything you disagree with there, or anything I'm missing on the Packers side, man?
No, I mean, I would imagine that's the case there. Just a real quick touchback. I'm weirdly okay with God, why am I spacing on him? Wilson in the mic. Who the heck is it? Wilson.
Eric Wilson. Yeah. Wilson.
Yeah. I'm okay with that. I think that I don't want to rush Quay back, and I know Quay's gotten a lot of heat from a lot of fans. Myself was one of them earlier in the year, but his progression was another one of those that I think we need to highlight going on. I mean, Quay was playing the best ball that we've seen Quay play as of late. So it is a little bit of a gut punch to see him have to come out, especially at this time. But I kind of like how we were handling Jair, making sure that he's not coming back until he's 100% good to go, because we need him obviously pushing through the end of the season into the playoffs, hopefully making a run. I think we should probably handle that with Quay and be okay with the fact that we've got some good, obviously not a great linebacker squad, but I think for what they're been asked to do, I think they've been performing decently well. And, I think when we get Jair back, that secondary that, again, has just been performing better than I think we expected, that's just going to be a massive catalyst. I'm excited to see how the defense responds once we got Ja back.
I think Jacob makes a great point there, Tim. Matter of fact, as I was doing the graphic for the PTA Players of the Week, the last game that Quay played in, he was the Defensive Player of the Week, right? Voted on by the fans. And you guys know our fans are as critical of Quay as anyone. I'm as critical of Quay as anyone. He looked damn good in that ball game, man. He really did. So the thought of him maybe not coming back until he's fully healthy, like, in the playoff hunt, that type of thing. One thing you're trying to determine too, it's awesome that you've got Quay Walker under contract next year, right? You're going to have to make a decision on the fifth-year option, he and Devontae Wyatt. Obviously, we've talked about that a little bit. But you've got this little stretch to see what Quay can do in the most important games of his career, right? Like, it's just going to be down the stretch and in the playoffs. How's he going to perform if he can get healthy, obviously? So anything you want to add to that, Tim? I know Quay's your guy for sure, man.
Yeah, man. And it's fair, right? We always say criticize the play, not the player, right? It's not a personal thing. And when he was struggling and playing a little under expectations, it was okay to call it out, give him a little heat, as long as you're fair. And when he's balling out and crushing it, you're drawing attention to that too. And yeah, I think it's sad that he got hurt right when he was kind of hitting his stride, but I'm all for giving him all the time he needs. Like Jacob said, I mean, we don't have the best linebacker room in the NFL or anything, but I'll tell you, all these guys are playing well together, and they find ways to fill in the gaps. Edrin Cooper stepped up huge last week, as we all know. And I think Eric Wilson is a monster when he wants to be, and certainly should have the green dot while Quay's not out there. So, yeah, it's time for guys to step up. McDuff's going to have to step up, Eric Wilson, and we know we've got Tyron Hopper, too. We'd like to see a little bit more of him. Maybe there's a chance in these next a couple ball games to get a look at our other young linebacker talent and see what we have. But yeah, man, I
Tim got throttled, didn't he? Did you notice that, Jacob? Is that just me?
Yeah, the hamster stopped running. Oh, there he goes.
You got a little bit of, it looks like a little connection issues over there, Tim. We'll see. And no big deal though, man. You just cut out there at the end. So
I'm sorry about that. I'm stealing my neighbor's Wi-Fi. Sorry.
At the end, right? Need more
I learned from Jacob, man.
Nick McSwain in the chat said Falcons supposedly cutting Cousins. Pretty sure the owner said he wanted to mimic Green Bay at the quarterback position and saw it through half the season.
Yes. There was talk that he would sit for 3 to 4 years, and they made it about 8 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know if that directly came from Arthur Blank, Nick. It may have. I'm not saying it didn't, but the media was definitely pushing that narrative, right? Like maybe they're going to take the approach as the Packers took, right? And you know, it's easier said than done, man. You got to have a damn good quarterback, you know, as your starter if you're really going to have the player sit and you be patient before you try to rush him out there, and B, a starter that you know your backup, your young quarterback can learn from. That's huge too. And listen, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like, hey, I called this. Kirk Cousins was going to be garbage this year. I think Kirk Cousins has been a solid quarterback his entire career. I really do. So, you know, from that stance, yeah, they're impatient, no doubt about it. Now, Michael Penix is one of those quarterbacks too, though, that it seemed like he was a little bit older, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong, because I know Michael Lombardi was pointing out that it was like by the time he starts, by the time Kirk Cousins' contract's up, he was going to be like 27 or 28, something like that. But we'll see, man. Listen, we're laughing at him right now, right? But if Michael Penix comes in and he's the next great franchise quarterback, we won't even be talking about that Kirk Cousins signing because they got it right. They got their guy, right? That's the way that'll work for sure. And, of course, we don't care about cap penalty because, at least on this show, because as we've seen in the past, many teams have won the Super Bowl, made it to the Super Bowl with one of the highest cap penalties, right? You've seen the 49ers do it several years in a row. Obviously, the Rams did it, carrying a lot of cap, got them a ring. So really just depends on how you look at it. Nick also said, since Week 10, Love has the highest EPA of any quarterback at 0.45. Next best is Josh Allen at 0.41. So we're talking about, this is week 16, right? So the last 5 weeks, probably 6, including week 10, that Jordan Love has just been as good as anyone in the league. That's pretty crazy. Doesn't surprise me, though.
It's actually crazy if you guys get a chance. I woke up way too early this morning, excited to do the pod. And then I threw on Ryan's podcast just to try to get some information before. And man, I'm telling you, I can't remember what the metrics are. There's kind of a really good standard of measuring a quarterback's capabilities when you minus like the drops, a lot of different situations where it affects the quarterback's rating or his stats, which aren't his fault. And number 1 was Josh Allen. Number 2 was Jordan Love. Number 3 was Lamar Jackson. And I mean, it was, and then there was a fall off. There's no other quarterback. It was like those top 3. And then there was a pretty stiff fall off to the next. And
Speaking of fall off,
I just think that people need to take a step back and realize that Jordan Love just heats up as the world gets colder. When it gets into these winter months, man, the Toyota-thon, have you seen that?
Yes, sir.
That dude just wants himself a Toyota truck, man, with a big old bow on it in the front yard.
We got to make
unrealistic.
Jordan could probably buy a Toyota truck for every day of the week if he wanted to right about now.
Let's go.
We got to get that sponsorship to happen, man. I'm talking about here. Toyota's going to sponsor the show, not Jordan Love. We're not talking about that. So.
Yeah, cool. We can each get a 4Runner. Awesome.
There you go. Good to go. All right, let's see. Anthony in the chat says, nothing like PTA to get my Saturday started. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Prince in the chat says, will be interesting to see the financials if the Falcons cut Cousins. I know he had a ton of guaranteed money in that deal. I want to say it was like $100 million, right? Something like that. Again, it'll be one of those things that everybody makes a big deal out of for about 6 months, and then you'll never talk about it again. And if the Falcons put together a good team, it won't have anything to do with or without that cap penalty.
Arthur Blank at QB1 next year.
Exactly. There you go. That would be interesting, right? With that mustache. You guys ever seen Nacho Libre?
Oh man,
I've never seen it.
Jake, you need to watch it, bro. It's good. It's good. Did you say you have, Tim?
Yeah, years ago. It's
okay.
Kind of slipped
so there's a guy in the crowd.
Isn't that Jack Black?
Yeah. There's a guy in the crowd where at the wrestling match, there's this older dude. And he's got a big, thick. He looks just like Arthur Blank, bro. And he's like, I was like, damn, did they get him to play as an extra in this movie? So check it out. If you go to the, I think it's the very first time that Nacho Libre gets in the ring on that movie. You'll see, you'll as soon as he pops up, oh, that's what he was talking about. You'll get it. So
starring our very own right guard, Sean Ryan.
There you go. Exactly. Nick McSwain says, I was watching some Julius Peppers highlights earlier. Dude was a monster. He was a freak, man. And they said he was an even better person, an even better leader in the locker room. One of those dudes that was violent on Sunday, but just the absolute stand-up human being off the field. Teammates loved him. You know, that's one of the players that Aaron Rodgers was talking about, that when they let him go, it really ticked Aaron off. Was like, we needed that in our locker room, you know. And there were things, whether it was Ted or Goody, at times that you kind of scratch your head and wonder why we did it. Rasul Douglas was one, right?
Sure.
And I know the argument becomes with Rasul, if I remember correctly, it might have been Tucker Kraft that we took with that pick. It doesn't mean you still don't get Tucker Kraft, right? Like there's a number of different things that could happen. You know, we talk about how young the team is, and it's very exciting. Like it's probably the coolest thing about a Packers season is you go in going, all right, we're young. You got to kind of curb the expectations a little bit. And then you get to the playoff point, you're like, wow, we're the youngest team and we're one of the best teams. That's awesome. But then when you have penalties happen, when you have drops happen, things like that, you've got to also run it through the filter. We're the youngest team in the league, right? That stuff's going to happen. So it's cool though, man. Julius Peppers though, he was a dog. You guys got any memories of Julius Peppers? My favorite Julius Peppers highlight was when John Kuhn popped him in the thigh there and allowed Aaron to roll left and throw the touchdown pass to Randall Cobb. My favorite Julius Peppers highlight is actually when he was on the Bears.
When he was with the Bears.
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead. You guys have.
I can't remember honestly any specific ones, but he was just one of those guys that I think wasn't he one of those tight ends that they claim he was a better basketball player too? Like he was just a athletic freak kind of guy.
Yeah, defensive end that could like jump out of the pool and just do. Yeah, he was a freak, man, no doubt. He was definitely a basketball player too. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he was. Yeah. He was. Tim, any specific memories? Anything you want to add to the Julius Peppers talk, man? It
was cool to roast him when he went to Chicago. Yes, I do remember that. It's Randall Cobb again. But no, he was a really good teammate. It's so true. Good locker room guy. The team was certainly fun to watch when he was here, and he's kind of one of those guys that you look at, almost like we looked at Charles Woodson in the sense of like a veteran who obviously started his career somewhere else. Played a few years for us and then ultimately bounced around and went back to his original team, right? So I think if Julius Peppers does go into the Hall of Fame, he'll probably go in as a Carolina Panther or something like that. But we'll have that handful of seasons that we had here in Green Bay, and really thought we were going to make a push at a Lombardi a few times there down the stretch. But yeah, Julius Peppers definitely one of my favorites on the defense while he was here.
Yeah. R.E. Ironminer says these guys are peaking at the right time. Patience, waiting on the best Lloyd to show up. Obviously talking about Marshawn Lloyd, the beast Lloyd. I apologize. Marshawn Lloyd to show up. Yeah, that's another one that we should be getting any second now, right? It's kind of surprising he's not been activated yet. That'll help the running back room. What's crazy, too, is like Emmanuel Wilson. I want to get your all's take on this. This is something I've thought for a long time, way, way back in the Mike McCarthy days, too. Like you see Emmanuel Wilson and how well he plays, right? I mean, he's graded out as like the 9th highest graded running back in the league, according to PFF. A dude that every time he gets a chance, every time he gets a touch, he just seems to always maximize that opportunity. But you don't see him often. And I've always been of the opinion, do you think that the team kind of holds some of these guys back because they know they're going to get him on that whatever reason, a restricted free agent, right? You don't want to blimp his numbers up, his stats up, knowing you don't need them right now. You guys think that's a real thing, or do you think it's just more of, just a specific situation on Sundays? Hey, this team here, we like this look. Jacobs is better out of this look, that type of thing. What do y'all think?
I think there could be truth to both of those statements, right? Or even, we talked about, what do you want to put on tape, right? Not just the numbers, but, how much film do you want your opponents to have on a guy like that? I agree, though. I kind of wish he got the ball a little more. Not to say I want Josh Jacobs to get the ball less, but I certainly think that, you guys know, man, he's always been one of my favorites. I, bumped into him a few times last year, got to meet him in person. Good dude. fought through injury in his rookie season to come back and has really been playing good football for us and steadily is improving and growing his game. But I do think there is logic to that you don't want a guy that you want to keep around. You don't want to audition him for the rest of the league to go snatch him up.
Exactly. That's exactly right. It's almost like you're holding him back a little bit.
Yeah. And I'm wondering that does make sense, kind of like Tim said, how two things can be true at once. I think possibly there could be the Josh Jacobs factor where he's just a beast and he's a workhorse and he doesn't come off the field that often. And that's just simply, there's not many carries left. However, it does throw a little bit of a wrench in the spokes with what Prince is saying. I've noticed Chris Brooks came out of nowhere. I've no idea. It's so funny because my best friend Tony, who I used to do the podcast with, his older brother's name is Chris Brooks, and he is not an athletic specimen by any means. So we'll text each other. You see Chris Brooks catch that, baby? But they seem to trust him. I would argue almost to a fault early in his. Remember, we're like, who is Chris Brooks and why is he in the game when there's 2 minutes left in the fourth? Remember that when I think he had a drop ball or maybe a fumble or something, and people are like, "Who is this guy?" But it showed that they went right back to him in games prior, and he's getting 3, 4, 5 carries a game, right? And
they seem to use Brooks more in the passing game.
Yes,
they're more likely to hand the ball off to Emmanuel Wilson. But yeah, Brooks out of nowhere, right, is just playing really good football.
Yeah.
So it's like a good problem to have yet again for Matt LaFleur, right? It's like, oh my gosh, I got all this young talent. What the hell do I do with it? How do we get, 35 guys on the field every Sunday? It's pretty tough, man.
Yeah, and when they signed him, I remember LaFleur talking about, hey, he can do everything, right? He said, he can pass. He's great in pass pro. He's a great special teams contributor. He can run the football.
He can block
out the backfield. And I immediately kind of rolled my eyes like, well, why is he available? Right. That's initially what and then you go and look at his numbers. He was averaging like over 6 yards a carry or something and was very effective. And he came from Miami, if I remember correctly. So obviously coming from Miami, it's this very, very similar system, right? The terminology is pretty much the same. They just like to run a lot more 21 and we like to run a lot of 12 and obviously stay in 11 the majority of the time. So, but Chris Brooks is Matt wasn't lying. People looked at it as coach speak, me being one of those guys, and Chris Brooks, to me, has done everything they've asked him to do. They really have. He should have had a touchdown catch earlier in the year, but Love threw a ball behind him. I remember that was a little circle route, and he kind of put it on his back hip, and he couldn't haul it in. But if he had hauled that in, he'd have a touchdown catch. And I don't think he scored yet this year, if I remember correctly. Maybe he did. Maybe he did score one. I can't remember. But anyway, let's see here. Harry in the chat says, I love watching that Richard Sherman video of him telling Packer fans how we won't be feared anymore after Rodgers left. Yeah, it's he definitely got roasted over that video too, man. Richard Sherman got in his feelings, no doubt about it. So, it just seems like those former players, whether they played for Seattle or Chicago or Minnesota, whoever it may be.
What's that one guy, Ryan Clark? Is that one who's been talking a lot of crap lately?
Yeah,
who just so happened to get torched in the Super Bowl.
Their asses kicked. That's all it is.
It's hilarious, dude. That dude is just and he got raked over the coals, and then he went after Pat McAfee because Rodgers was on his show. And then I don't know if you've seen it, it was like less than 24 hours later. I talked to Pat and we're good. Everything's good there. And I bet it is. Remember, he said, I'll see you in South Bend because he was going to be in South Bend. Mm-hmm. Then all of a sudden I talked to Pat and we're good. Oh,
you hurt me, Brett.
Yeah, that sauce wore off. So what happened there, Hosscat? We know what happened. So let's do this, man. Since we're playing the Saints this week, you guys remember the Saints game last year, week 3, when we played?
Yeah, that was exciting.
That was the
second half
out party for Jordan Love. At this point in the season, we were like, oh no, we might have made the wrong decision, right? It's like now it's early in the year, obviously, but I want you to look at the score here. 17-0 in the fourth quarter with 12:30 left.
That's terrible.
All right. This is every Jordan Love completion from this point on in that game. There's only like 6 of them. Let's go through and watch them. You know, let's watch how this game progressed in the fourth quarter. Looks like here we're in a dub set, kind of spread out, strong right. That's Musgrave on the field too. Jordan just going to hit a little corner route, nice little shot in the bunker. First down to Jaden Reed. Let's watch it from the box cam. It's just so cool to go back and look at these plays, knowing now he's got the big contract, right? At this point, he didn't. Obviously, there's A.J. Dillon in the game. That feels like that was forever ago, right? But look at Jordan, just kind of a little double hitch, let it go. Good touch on that pass, too, to Jaden Reed. So, obviously, that was a 2nd and 6 play. You're going to move the sticks in the fourth quarter, down 17-0, right? Let's go to the next play. Should auto play for us. Now we're in a 1st and 10, 11:59 left in the fourth quarter.
And we're throwing, of course.
Empty set, Trey Wright. Bang, over the middle. First down. Who was that? Was that Wicks? Kind of looked like Wicks. Was that Wicks? Nope, that was Dobby. So Dobbs.
I just caught the ball, man.
Perfect. I like how they've got the T there. See the T in A.J. Dillon lined up here? Kind of in case they do want to blitz there, they can kind of help chip a little bit, get in the way just a touch. Sits down underneath. What a throw by Jordan. Did you see him thread the needle, boys?
Yes.
That's a beautiful throw. My goodness.
Here's the guy.
Was that almost a no look? No, he was looking. Okay.
Yeah, he was looking, but boy, and look how the ball is like spinning sideways away from the linebacker. You can actually see it almost looks like it curves, you know.
Put a little English on that one. I like it.
Anglish, as we say down here, right? All right, next play. This is a 3rd and 10 play, all right? And these are just the throws, so that's you probably ran the ball a couple times. You end up in 3rd and 10. Again, we're going empty, right? And it looks like we've got Patrick Taylor flexed out wide at the bottom. So this is an empty 11 look. We're going to go Trey left with the tight end, and that's Musgrave. And your T is going to be flexed out to the boundary. They like to do that with Patrick Taylor a lot last year. And we know who this ball over the middle. Let's go. First down, 1st and go inside the 5. And it feels like it's taken forever to score here, right? Like there's 8 minutes left now. You've ran off how much time? And it's still, it's 17-3 at this point, but just taking forever.
Notice how wide open Taylor was on the swing, and Jordan's like, nope,
Ain't doing it.
Nope.
Ain't doing it. All right, so now it's 17-11. They obviously pounded the rock in there. So now it's just a 6-point game. There's 5:23 left. We come out in a nasty split this time. Nasty dubs out of the gun. Strong right, T weak. Underneath the Tay Wicks. He did that so well last year, man. Just picking up those tough yak yards. All right, here's a better look at this play. We should be coming down the stretch here. I imagine this is the game-winning drive here because they end up missing a field goal to give us a win, if I remember correctly. So next play, now we're looking at a 2nd and 10 at New Orleans' 45-yard line. We're going empty again. Trey Wright. T's going to be on the wing again. Jordan going up top to Jaden Reed. Oh, my God. About that catch, boys.
The bird man.
Laid out for it, man. What's the protection here? Let's see it. Beautiful protection. Steps up in the pocket. God, what a catch, dude. That is unbelievable.
Great throw and great catch because Jordan had to put that ball there, right? If he doesn't lead him there, that ball's picked.
No doubt about it. All right, here we are. 1st and 10, 3:42 left at New Orleans' 15-yard line. Inside the Tay Wicks again. Going to pick up a few. You forget how sure-handed Tay Wicks was last year, man. Yeah. It just seemed like he was just all year long. He was that go-to guy. All right, now let's go to the
past couple of weeks. He's coming back too. His hands are looking better now this year. So
definitely, is it really not going to? I was going to say, is it not going to load the most important play? So here we go. 3rd and 3, 2:59 left. Tie ball game, 17-17 at New Orleans' 8-yard line, and you guys know who it's going to here. When the game's on the line, think play or not play. Let's look for Dobby at the bottom. I think this might have been the back shoulder, right? It was. What a catch.
I just caught the ball, man.
This angle right here, man. The placement of the ball, the catch, everything. Oh, it's beautiful. You throw it only where your
Rome, love it.
Only where your receiver can get it, man. And if it gets tipped, it's flying out of bounds. That's what's happening, right? So I don't know, man. I just thought it'd be cool to kind of walk back down memory lane and see how that ended last year. And this was kind of the coming out party for Jordan Love where people went, okay, we got something, right? Yep. He gets into a rhythm. It's a dude that can really make things happen. So, again, the Packers ended up going on to win that Week 3 matchup against the Saints last year. I think they, like I said, missed a field goal at the very end to give us the win. So, pretty cool, man. Walking, like I said, down memory lane and checking those old ones out. Anything, any comments on that? Listen, it's two different teams now. We know that, right? They change. The NFL changes so much from year to year. In no way are we trying to draw a parallel there. I just thought it was cool that we're playing the Saints this week. I think it was I can't remember who it was on Twitter. Someone had mentioned this game. It was kind of the coming out party. And when I went to NFL Pro, I'm like, let me grab a cup of coffee. We'll look at the tape this morning, see what happened in that game. I went, holy cow, we were down 17-0 in the fourth quarter. I knew it was late in the game, but I didn't know it was the fourth quarter. Pretty cool.
Yep. So that was kind of the beginning of the streak of the Packers, proving that they're never out of a game. I mean, we've seen it this year. We almost came back on the Vikings. We were down massively in that game too. And, there's no quit in this team. It doesn't matter if they go down a couple scores or not. Now, we prefer them to not crap the bed in the first half of the game and, put some points on the board early and not win them all at the end. But I certainly think you can see the progress between last year and this year with, like you mentioned, Tay Wicks, Jordan Love. Guys are improving, and you're going to have bumps in the road. Jordan had a few bad throws last year. He had a couple this year, but, things continue to progress forward. And I think guys are in a groove now, and they're confident in their development and, playing their best ball at the right time, and like I said, man, we got to get this dub on Monday night.
Yeah. Carl K said, so many good throws made believers of many doubters. Again, man, it was check it off the list for me. It's one of the things that when you're self-scouting, as well as, you're scouting prospects, I've told everybody, man, watch these college football playoffs. When the game's on the line and it's the fourth quarter, watch the third down snaps for these quarterbacks, right? Watch the third down snaps for the pass rushers. It's huge. Like, watching Notre Dame last night in Indiana, Indiana's been like the big darling this year. And you see Notre Dame just absolutely, they just pin their shoulders down and thump that head all night long, man. Jeremiah Love, their running back, that's a guy that you see in the biggest moment of his young career in college. It's like, all right, he's rising to the occasion. That's a name you're going to hear in another year or two. He's only a sophomore, too. So Riley Leonard was one of those guys, one of the highest paid coming out of the NIL, if I understood correctly. He came from Duke to Notre Dame, so he's a quarterback that's going to be entering the draft this year, right? And it's like, okay, where's Riley Leonard fall? My opinion, I'm a Notre Dame fan. He hasn't showed that much this year. Now, he just tied or set the new rushing touchdown record for quarterbacks in Notre Dame history. But you get to the league, people aren't looking at that going, how effective did he run the football? You got to be able to spin it. He's just too inconsistent. So, again, you've seen some of that last night, throwing an interception in the first quarter. I'm mentioning that because the draft's going to be right around the corner. Watch these playoff games, man. It's going to be awesome. We got a full slate of them today. And pick a position of need. Go over to, whatever website you like for scouting information and going, all right, who's the top prospects on these teams? Write them down on a piece of paper, sit down with a daddy soda, watch the game, and see what they do in crunch time for sure. So, Jacob, I know you're going to have to go here in a minute. You just hop off when you need to. But is there anything you want to hit on before you go, man? Any kind of topic or anything? Because I don't want you to not hit what you wanted to hit before we have to get off here.
No, I do got to jump right now. But if I'm not mistaken, we had a missed kick we should have won up 18-17, if I'm not mistaken, right? And we had a missed point after touchdown, I believe that kept it at 17-17, right? Yeah. And I'm just blessed that we got a man named Mr. Brandon McManus. I saw a photo of him and his lovely family, 3 kids today. It's a very, very wonderful blessing to not have to worry about if the kick's going through. I think that guy has quietly been one of the best additions to this team that not a lot of people talk about. There, you got your kicker talk. I'm back. You guys have fun with that. Go Pack, go. We got a couple good games today too, guys. In addition to the college games, this is the best time of year. Christmas, winter, snow, football, almost every day of the year somehow. It's amazing. So go Pack, go. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Now, have a good day, buddy.
See you, Jacob.
And Jake G126 with the super chat here, giving a shout out, said the beard has returned. Appreciate you, Jake. Thank you so much, buddy. All right, yeah. Jake Cole says Leonard is not consistent. That's the way I've seen it too, and I wanted it to work, right? Like that was the guy you want. As many Notre Dame player as a Notre Dame fan, you want as many of those guys to make it to the next level as possible, because that does give you a better reputation with incoming prospects. Like, hey, look, we're churning out these pro athletes. But I just don't. I could be wrong. I just don't see Riley Leonard being one of those dudes for sure. So. All right, let's see here, Tim. Since we were kind of talking about the weekly slate, you want to take a look at it from NFL Nerds, see what we got coming up this week?
Oh yeah, pull up our favorite graphic. Here we go.
Let's go.
Here's a graphic.
Exactly. So you heard Jacob mention there's going to be some games today. Here's what we got going on. Okay, obviously Thursday night was the Broncos and the Chargers. The Chargers ended up pulling that out at the end. And getting the dub. So today at 1 o'clock.
The Texans at the NFL officiating committee. That'll be a good game.
also known as the Kansas City Chiefs. That's going to be the 1 o'clock kickoff today at Kansas City. That should be a blast, man. That's two really good football teams. Houston Texans going there. D'Amico Ryan's taking that tough defense into Kansas City, going to try to slow down Patrick Mahomes. Is Patrick Mahomes playing? I don't even know if he's playing, Tim. That's something for you fantasy owners.
Let us know. Ankle, right? Ankle injury?
Yeah. Let us know in the chat, guys, if you know whether Patrick Mahomes is playing. Nate McSwain says, dude, is Mahomes playing today? He got an high ankle sprain on Sunday. I can't imagine he is if it was a high ankle sprain, because those things are like 4 to 8 weeks or something, right? So anyway, Texans at the Chiefs in the 1 o'clock window. Then you've got the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Baltimore Ravens. Man, you talking about a hell of a rivalry right there. That's definitely the two best teams in the AFC North. I feel comfortable saying that, and they hate each other, man.
Yeah, that's the game to watch today.
That's going to be hard hitting. 4:30 Eastern kickoff. He's playing. Holy cow! Nick McSwain said he's playing. J. Cole said that Patrick Mahomes is playing. That's unbelievable, man. So those are your two kickoffs today. Again, I would say you probably want to watch this one over the other. They're both going to be dandies. Get out there and watch them, man. They're going to be great. Next Sunday, 1 o'clock slate. We got several games here. Looks like we got, 5 games? So you got the Titans at the Colts. I'm sorry, 6 games. The Browns at the Bengals, 1 o'clock kickoff. What's cool, too, is, Tim, the Texans at the Chiefs today, cold weather game. Pittsburgh at Baltimore, cold weather game, outside in the elements the way it should be played. Then 1 o'clock, Cleveland Browns at the Cincinnati Bengals, cold weather game outside. Pretty cool. Titans at the Colts is a 1 o'clock kickoff. The LA Rams at the Jets. So you get to watch Aaron Rodgers try to knock the LA Rams down a notch in the standings, as they're currently leading the NFC West at 8-6 with the tiebreaker over the Seattle Seahawks. But that'll be a cold weather game in Jersey, I'm sure. Then another 1 o'clock kickoff. Philadelphia Eagles at the Washington Commanders. Another cold weather kickoff. Detroit Lions at the Chicago Bears is a 1 o'clock kickoff. That'll be obviously cold and windy there in Chicago. And then, of course, you got the Giants at the Atlanta Falcons as another 1 o'clock kickoff. The Falcons are now sitting at 7-7, second in the NFC South behind the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are sitting at 8-6. So, Tim, with those early slates in today's games, man, you have the floor. Some exciting football going on, man. A lot of playoff implications on the line here, dude.
There are. I mean, definitely when it comes to impacting the seating, I think for sure. Of course, there's a couple dumpster fire games mixed in there too. You got to have those, but I think it's like Jacob said before he jumped off, man. This is that time of the year. If you're a football fan, man, this is exciting time to watch football, man. Huge slate of games, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I mean, this is awesome.
Yeah. Completely agree. So if we were to look at the standings here, obviously on the same graphic, what games have playoff implications or could have some impact for the Packers? The first one that pops up to me is the LA Rams at the Jets, right? We want the Jets to win that game and continue to beat down those NFC West teams. So that would make the Rams fall to 8-7 if somehow, some way Aaron Rodgers could pull out a dub there, him and Devontae Adams. Next, You got the Eagles at the Commanders, right? The Eagles at the Commanders. The Eagles, I'm to the point now where I'm cool with the Eagles winning out, right? The Commanders is the team you want to see drop that loss there, right? Because, again, when we looked at the playoff picture, I may have it here. Let me see here. I think I do real quick. Actually, we'll just go to the standings. I'm pretty sure this is up to date. So the Commanders are sitting at 9-5. They're number 7, the 7 seed, right? Imagine if the Commanders and the Seahawks both lose them. Now look how comfortable that playoff berth looks for the Packers. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And I think that NFC West is the one to really watch, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you look between the Rams, the Seahawks, and Arizona's out. They're done. But I think I'd rather see Seattle again than the Rams. I don't know how you feel about that.
Absolutely, because when we played the Rams, they did not have Puka Nacua, right?
Yep.
They're a totally different offensive football team when he's on the field. And I'm not saying they're world beaters and there's no chance we could win that game. I'm with you on that, Tim. I feel better about our chances with Seattle, but you also got to take into consideration how hard it is to beat the same team twice, right? So it applies to both of these guys. I'm just simply saying when you look at Seattle, just because we beat them that bad the first time, right? Coaching staffs are going to make adjustments, and you go in with this mindset of, all right, probably just need to do what we were doing that was working, and then they make a completely, totally different change game plan wise. Next thing you know, you're down by a couple scores, right? So it's just this time of year is just awesome, man, because everybody's got all the tape, right? They've got every team on tape, and it becomes this game of chess and not checkers. I love it, dude. Absolutely love it. So again, I think we're pulling for Philly there. Am I wrong there, Tim? You want Philly to beat Washington in that season?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, got it.
Absolutely. That's a team, sneaky, dangerous team, right? Washington. It's another one. We talk about Tampa. That's another team that, sneak up and ruin your year if you're not careful. So, any of those type of teams falling in the standings, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Fly, Eagles, fly. Let's go.
Yeah. And then you got Detroit at Chicago. Obviously, we're all Bears fans, as bad as it makes me want to throw up on my shoes.
Oh, I'm not saying that. You will never hear me say those words.
I'll be a Bears fan come Sunday, man. I hope they somehow, some way beat the Lions, because the Lions continue to get banged up. Montgomery's out for a significant amount of time. He did not rule out that he wouldn't return to the playoffs. That was something that was interesting the other day that got talked about. So if the Bears somehow, some way beat the Lions and they drop to 12-3, right, and you go out and take care of business the rest of the way out, listen, if they lose to the Bears, they could lose every game from here on out. Let's be honest about it, right? Do I think that's going to happen? No. But there still is a shot for the Packers to win the North, as silly as that sounds. And it's I bet the percentage of the chances is well under 10%, right? But I'm going to be pulling for the Bears to try to upset the Lions there in Chicago for sure. So, all right, Giants at the Falcons. Any playoff implications there? We're Giants fans. Don't hold your breath, though. They're 2-12. Going to be tough to beat Atlanta down there. I don't care if Uncle Rico's their quarterback. It's going to be tough to win that ball game down there, right?
Playoffs?
Or tough to lose that ball game, I should say, to the Giants. So that's a 1:00 kickoff. And then you got the Arizona Cardinals at the Carolina Panthers. Again, we want the Giants to beat the Falcons, but with this Cardinals-Panthers game, we're pulling for the Panthers too. Going to be an uphill battle. I'd like to see the Cardinals drop to 7-8. That would be ideal there. 1:00 window games. You have the floor, Tim. Anything you want to hit on there, Bob?
Yeah, I agree totally. Maybe one of these teams will get it done. You never know. I mean, you talk about uphill battles. Yeah, Chicago, Detroit, obviously, and then Carolina, Arizona. I think that one might be the one we could see a surprise in. Depends on what Cardinals team actually shows up this week, but you never know. Carolina could find a way. Even a broken clock's right twice a day, so you never know.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for hour one. For those of you listening on the pod, we will see you on the other side for hour two. We appreciate y'all.